Algebra 2, Chapter 8F, and we're going with day 1. Okay, factoring with the leading coefficient of 1 notes. Now, folks, I can't tell you how important this unit is. Okay, 8F, I think, is the most important unit in all of Algebra 2. Okay, you are going to factor off and on through the rest of this year. My pre-calc class, if you ask them, they would tell you that they have factored their tails off all year long so far. This whole first semester, they have factored. It's not something, that you want to take any shortcuts with, right? If you're one of these folks that has used Mathway on your homeworks from some time, this is not the section to be using it for. Okay, you don't want to use Photomath or Mathway or Math Papa or any of those other ones on this particular section. Okay, you want to do every single question straight up in the practice so that you can do it on the quizzes legitimately, and then you can validate on your tests like you've been doing. You don't want to mess around with this section. This section is one that you need. Okay, you need to buckle down and be able to do it. Right? So please make a big effort to factor. I'm going to try to break it down as well as I can, make sense to you. And just be honest about asking questions when you don't understand something, because if you have this, I guarantee you your next math class, if you take another math class, your next one, it's going to be much easier if you can factor. Okay, let's do this. So let's start by giving you an idea of what factoring is by doing something that we've done recently. And that is multiplying binomials. Okay? We used to call it foiling. All right, so if you would take a look here, x plus 2 times x plus 3. So we multiply the x times the x, so we get x squared. Multiply the x times the plus 3, and we get plus 3x. We multiply the 2 times the x, and we get plus 2x. And we multiply the plus 2 times the plus 3, and we get plus 6. And then finally, we combine like terms, and we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay? This is multiplying. This is foiling. Okay? Let's do it for x minus 2 times x minus 3. So x times x is x squared minus 3x minus 2x. And then minus 2 times minus 3 is plus 6. Combine your like terms, this one and this one. So we got x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay. Notice these are all x's and 2's and 3's, but the signs are different. So that's where we're going to come up with our patterns here. All right. So again, we're going to FOIL this one. So we got x squared plus 3x minus 2x. So plus 3x minus 2x. And now minus 6. Okay. So we've got x squared. 3x minus 2x is 1x. So plus 1x or plus x minus 6. Okay, so far so good. Let's finish it out. X times x is x squared minus 3x plus 2x, okay? Minus 3x plus 2x. Plus 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Combine your like terms. So minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1. So minus 1x, I'm just going to write minus x, minus 6. Okay. Notice these are all different answers. Okay. Some of them are similar. Okay. They're all different answers so far. Okay. And then this one here, we got just 2's and x's. So x times x is x squared. This is a fun one. X times plus 2 is plus 2x. And then minus 2 times x is minus 2x. So we got plus 2x and minus 2x. And then minus 2 times plus 2 is minus 4. Okay. So combine your like terms. They cancel. Goodbye. So I got x squared minus 4 all by itself. Okay, so that is foiling, or just multiplying two binomials. So if I have two binomials that are called factors, I multiply the factors together and I get this nice quadratic. Okay, quadratic just means there's an x squared at the front. Okay, well, foiling is the exact opposite of factoring. So like it says right here, foiling does one thing, and then factoring does the exact opposite. Okay, factoring is a process that breaks a polynomial down into the smaller polynomials. Okay, so with FOIL, here were the small polynomials, okay, the binomials. We multiplied them together to get the bigger one. Okay, well, we're going to do just the opposite. In factoring, we're going to start with this, and you have to give us those. You got to guess what times what gave me positive 6, and what plus what gives you positive 5. Right? Well, it was positive 2 and positive 3. Right? Let's look at the little patterns that I'll just have you notice here. You don't have to memorize these, but you should see these patterns. Okay? I think that they will become evident to you. So notice that if you look at the pattern and there's a plus here and a plus here. All right? All right, where were there two pluses? Here's two pluses. See the plus and the plus? Okay, notice that both of these were pluses. Okay, so you're going to have x plus a number. I'll just put a little number symbol here, times x plus a number. Okay, both of the factors are going to have x plus in them if you got a plus plus. Well, what about minus plus? Well, let's look at those here. Minus plus. Oh, here's a minus plus. Well, notice that both of these factors had x minus in them. Okay, so it was x minus a number times x minus a number. Now this one has plus in the middle and minus at the end. Okay, let's look for that pattern. Plus in the middle and minus at the end. Okay, cool. So that was an x plus times an x minus. Okay, so it was x plus a number times x minus a number. Okay. How about if we had minus minus? Well, the key really is that third number there. So we have a minus minus here. Well, this one, just like this one, was a plus and a minus. So you have a plus, and here you have a minus. Now, what's the only difference between these two? Well, I'll tell you what the difference was. For the one that had the plus in the middle, notice that it was plus 3 minus 2. So the plus number had a larger value, or a larger absolute value, than the minus number did. And the one that's got a minus in the middle, well, it was a minus 3 and a plus 2. So that means the minus had more of an absolute value than the plus, right? And then x squared minus c squared. This is x squared minus 2 squared. Okay? That's the same as x squared minus 4. So anytime you have a perfect square, like x squared, minus another perfect square, like 2 squared, like 4, then that was, by the way, x minus 2, x plus 2. So that would be x plus c, x minus c. Okay. Pretty cool. Okay. Pretty cool indeed. Okay. Now, if this part here has you a little bit concerned. When I show you my product sum breakdown on this next page, you're going to be fine. Okay, I guarantee you. Okay? Now, this does say we will use factoring time and again to help us solve equations. Okay, and not every one of these quadratic expressions that we're ever going to use will be factorable. But in this section, yes, we're going to be factoring. Okay, so we will have factorable expressions. Okay, now we're going to use what I'm going to call the ACB product sum method. Okay, so AX squared plus BX plus C. There's your A and your C. Now, on day one, the A is always 1. That's nice, okay? So AC, or A times C, we're looking for product. The product of A times C. And then the sum, we're looking for B, okay? So product, sum, looking at B. That's not sum, that's sum, we're looking at B, all right? Check this out. Question 1. Again, just hold on. We're going to do this together. You'll see the pattern after we do a couple of these, I bet you. All right? So the A is 1. The C is 12. Right? 1 times 12 is 12. And it's positive. That's the product we're looking for. The sum is B. That's plus 7. So I need two numbers that if you multiply them together, their product is positive 12. And when you add them together, their sum is positive 7. So let's think of some numbers that multiply to 12. Well, let's do 1 times 12. Okay, so let's go positive 1, and this is plus plus, so I know everything's going to be positive. So go plus 1 times plus 12. Well, that multiplies to positive 12, but it adds to positive 13. No, that's not it. I want positive 7. Okay, so if it's not 1 and 12, could it be 2 and 6? Well, I mean, positive 2 and positive 6, if I add them together, I get positive 8. Close is not good enough. You've got to have positive 7. Do you know it? Do you know it? I bet you do. So how about if I took positive 3 and positive 4? If I multiply them together, I got positive 12. If I add them together, I got positive 7. Boom. We're basically done. Check this out. X plus 3, X plus 4. That's my answer. Okay. Now, how do I know it's right? Because if I do the opposite of factoring, which is foiling, if I go x times x, and I get x squared, and I go x times 4, and I get 4x, and I get x times 3, and I got 3x, and I got 3 times 4, and I get 12, guess what I get? 3x plus 4x, 7x. I get x squared plus 7x plus 12, which is exactly what we started with. Okay, so when you are in doubt, or even if you're not, foil it to see if you factored correctly. Right? That was kind of fun. Let's do another one, shall we? Okay. Well, we can put it in your box, because you're not going to erase over and over. So let's do it like this here for you. So product, sum. Okay, product, sum. So the product is going to be 1 times negative 12, A times C. So that's going to be minus 12. The sum is going to be positive 1, which is in front of the x. Remember, in visible math, there's a plus 1 in front of the x. Okay, so two numbers that multiply to negative 12 add to 1. Okay, well, like we did before, with 1 and 12, I can't get a 1 out of 1 and 12. 2 and 6, I can't get a 1 out of 2 and 6. Well, 3 and 4. Well, 3 and 4, I can get a 1 out of it. Now, if they're multiplying to give me a negative, that means it's got to be a positive times that. One of them's plus and one of them's a minus. Positive times negative gives me negative 12. But they got to add to be a positive 1. So that means the bigger one has to be a plus. So the 4 is a plus and the 3 is a minus. So minus 3 plus 4 gives me plus 1. That's what I wanted, plus 1. So minus 3 plus 4. Again, check your answer. Just check it real fast here. X times x is x squared, plus 4x minus 3x, that's plus 1x, minus 12. It's exactly right. We got it. Okay? Let's do 3 and 4 here. Number 3. A times C. So my product is positive 14. My sum is negative 9. That's my B. Okay, so I need two numbers who multiply together, have a product of positive 14, but add them together, their sum is negative 9. Okay, so remember, it's either positive times positive or negative times negative to give you the plus 14. Okay, well, they're going to add to negative 9, right? It's going to be negative times negative. Well, what two numbers multiplied gives you 14? 1 and 14? Sure. Can I get a 9 out of 1 and 14? Nope. The only other one we got is 2 and 7. 2 and 7. I can get a 9 out of 2 and 7. So in order for it to multiply to 14, but add to negative 9, it's got to be a minus 2 and a minus 7. If I add those together, I get negative 9. Heck yeah. Okay, product is 14, sum is negative 9, on the money. Okay, so that's just x minus 2, x minus 7. And again, you could FOIL this out. You know, the minus 2x and the minus 7x are going to give you the minus 9x because you had to add them together. Cool. All right, let's look at this next one. Do we need product sum on this one? We shouldn't. I mean, if you did need it, you could rewrite this as x squared. Now, there's no x there, so you could go plus 0x minus 9. And you could do product sum. You could say the product is 1 times negative 9, and the sum is 0. Okay, so you say, okay, negative 9, I got to get 0. So that'd be 3 and negative 3, which will give you plus 3 and minus 3. Okay. Or you could go back to that right there. Okay, if you've got a binomial where you have a perfect square minus a perfect square, x squared is a perfect square. Minus, and 9's a perfect square. So this is x plus 3 because the square root of 9 is 3 times x minus 3. Okay. And lo and behold, look, if we had done it with product sum, we would have still got the same thing. Okay, pretty great. Okay, rewind that if I went too fast. Okay, listen to it again, slow it down, do what you need to do. But we got to continue here. We got to get through 6 more of these little sweethearts. Okay, So again, we got A is going to be my 1. C is my negative 24. That's a C. Trust me, it's a C. Okay, so the product is going to be negative 24 because it's 1 times negative 24. And the B is this guy in the middle. So the sum is negative 5. Okay. Whew. Well, what times what gives me 24? I got 1 times 24. Ain't going to get a 5 out of that. Get 2 times 12. No 5s out of 2 and 12. We got 3 times 8. 6 times 4. Ooh, 3 and 8. 3 and 8 might be it. So if they're multiplying to give me a negative 24, means one of them's got to be a positive, one of them's got to be negative. But the bigger one has to be negative. So minus 8 plus 3. Let's do it. Plus 3 minus 8. It works. If we go back and we FOIL it, you would find x squared minus 5x minus 24. Kind of nice, kind of nice. All right, let's look at number 6. Okay, so my A is 1, my B is negative 5. Excuse me, my C is negative 5. Oh gosh, don't say B. Okay, C is negative 5. So 1 times negative 5, the product is negative 5. The sum, this guy in the middle here, positive 4. Okay, as you do a few of these, it's going to start getting, repetition, and you're going to start getting used to it. It's going to be good, guarantee it. Okay. So 2 numbers that multiply to negative 5, but add to 4. Well, 5 has to be 1 times 5. There's no other way. 5's prime. So you got a 1 and a 5. They multiply to a negative, so one of them is going to be negative, one of them is going to be positive. But the bigger one has to be positive because there's a plus 4. So the little one's negative and the big one's positive. If you add them together, you get plus 4. Okay, so minus 1 plus 5. Minus 1 plus 5. If you FOIL it out, x squared plus 5x minus 1x, which is plus 4x, minus 5. Okay, you got a winner. Okay, here we go again. There's only 2 of them. Could you do product sum? Yes. But you don't need to. Okay? X squared is a perfect square. 25 is a perfect square. And there's a minus in between. So you can go straight there. Now, if you didn't want to and you did the product sum, okay, 2 numbers that multiply to negative 25 but add to 0. It'd be 5 and negative 5, which is exactly what we get. Good, good, good. All right. So let's try it again. Okay, product, sum. Okay, product, we're looking at the 1 and the 30. Multiply A times C, we get positive 30. Big one. Okay, your B, your sum, is going to be negative 13. Okay, so we got to come up with numbers that multiply to give you 30. Factors of 30. 1 times 30. Can I get a 13 out of 1 and 30? Nope. How about 3 times 10? Oh, maybe. 3 times 10, I could get a 13 out of it. How about 15 times 2? I could get 15 minus 2, possibly. Okay, so I got a couple of options. So because it could be 15, 2, or it could be 10 and 3, we have to look at sign. Okay. Sign's positive. Okay, so it's either going to be positive times positive or negative times negative. Well, this guy says they have to add up to a negative number. So that means it's got to be negative, negative. So let's try these. Okay, negative 15 plus negative 2 is negative 17. That's not it. Negative 10 plus negative 3, okay, the sum of negative 10 and negative 3 is negative 13. Yes, indeed, that's the one. Okay, so x minus 10, x minus 3. Okay, so that one's one to be careful of, because 15 and 2, if you used a plus and a minus, it could have given you the correct sum. However, positive 15, negative 2 won't give you the correct product. Make sure your product is right as well as your sum. Okay, let's look at question 9. Question 9, our A is 1 and our B is 9. So the product is 1 times 9, which is 9. And now the sum is our B term. My goodness, I wrote B again, didn't I there? That's the C term. So 1 times 9 is 9. And then your C term is positive 6. Okay, so positive 9, 1 times 9. Positive 6 is your B term. Okay, so two numbers that multiply to 9, they give you 6 for a sum. Okay, well, 1 times 9 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Well, 1 and 9 doesn't give me 6, no matter what I do. Adding, subtracting, doesn't matter. So I'm going to bet on 3 and 3. It's a positive, so it's got to be a positive times positive or negative times negative, but they have to add up to a positive. So it tells me they're both plus plus. Positive 3 plus positive 3 is positive 6. It's a winner. So this is x plus 3 times another x plus 3. Okay, you're almost done. The only time that you're going to do any more work than that is if this binomial and this binomial are the same thing. Because what are you doing when you multiply something by itself? Hopefully you're saying you're squaring it. Okay, so if you're squaring x plus 3 by multiplying it by itself, the simplest way to answer it is like this. Okay, x plus 3, quantity squared. Okay. And now finally, number 10, we got a 1 for my A, got a positive 25 for my C. Okay, so product must be 25, positive. The sum must be the B term, which is negative 10. Two numbers that multiply to give you positive 25, add to negative 10. Well, 25 is either 1 times 25 or 5 times 5. And you can't get a negative 10 out of 1 and 25, no matter what you do to them. Adding, subtracting, doesn't matter. So I'm guessing we're going to go 5 times 5. So they multiply to a positive 25, which means it's either positive times positive or negative times negative. And they add to a negative 10. It means they got to both be negative. Okay, so it's minus 5 times minus 5. So it's x minus 5 times x minus 5. And looky, looky, it's something times itself, which means we're going to call this x minus 5 quantity squared. And that concludes 8F day 1. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Go back, rewind it, and relive as many of those as you need to, but get this down. This is very important stuff. Okay, we will see you later.